Hi, I'm Alex Innecco and this is ECAI's Musical Encyclopedia. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Today we're going to talk about applause. When is the right time for you to applaud during a concert? That's an interesting question because, first of all, this was not a problem until the 20th century. It was in the 20th century that we started being a little bit more uptight during concerts, okay? Until the 19th century, there are some illustrations, some very funny illustrations where you see in the middle of an opera, you see a waiter with a tray and like drinks on top of this tray, and he's serving the people in the audience, people playing cards, people talking. So this extreme silence, which I love, by the way, but this extreme silence that we experience in the 21st century started in the 20th century. Some people think that the First World War had something to do with it, that people started getting more formal, more once the concerts came back after the First World War, people were more reverent toward that space. I'm not sure about this theory, but it exists. Anyway, when should you applaud? Generally, if you go to a concert where there's a symphony or a concerto, these pieces are multi-movement pieces, so they have 3 or 4 movements. You will applaud after the last movement. So 3 movements. After the 3rd movement, you applaud. How should you know? How do I know that it's 3 or 4 movements? If there is a printed program, then it's easy because you open there and you see there Allegro, Andante, Allegro, 3 movements. So you know it's 3 movements, okay? If there is not a printed program, and the conductor didn't tell you, because sometimes the conductor, when I'm conducting and there's not a printed program, I say this is a symphony in 4 movements. That solves the problem. Okay, if nobody tells you, okay, and you have no idea, wait for your neighbor to start clapping. Okay, that's always a good idea. This is in the case of a concert. Okay, symphonies, concertos, etc. If you go to an opera, it's okay to applaud after many arias, okay? If Maria Callas finished singing Visidarte perché me ne rimuneri così, brava! Then you scream brava. Go to bravo here in the channel to understand what that is. So you can applaud after arias or duets, ensembles. In ballet, sometimes it's okay to clap, sometimes it's not. Observe, see what the audience is doing. If you're not an expert in ballet, if you're not an expert in opera, just observe. In this channel, you've come to learn that I am an advocate for people doing whatever they want. But in this case, I believe it's an exception because, for example, if you go to Mass, or if you go to a service in a church, you are supposed to follow the traditions of that church. Oh, but I don't know it. Well, how do you learn? You observe. So the first time you go to a Catholic Mass and you have no idea how to behave, you sit tight and you observe. People stood up, you stand up. People knelt, you kneel. Okay? It's the same thing in a theater. A theater is a sort of a temple. Okay, ceremony will happen there, an artistic ceremony will happen there. So nobody is born knowing these things, but you can learn by observation. Okay, because think about that. So think about the Beethoven's 5th, for example, symphony. Pam, 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 pam. It's 3 movements. There's a 4th movement that's glued to the 3rd. So people are used, it's a very famous piece, and people are used to hearing it as a single unit, okay? So if you break that unit by applauding, you are interfering with the perception of that piece. Oh, but this is awful. Well, you don't need to go to a concert. You can hear it at home. When you go to a concert, you are supposed to follow the customs, okay? That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get angry at me. I didn't invent the rules, okay? This is ECAI's Musical Encyclopedia. Have you subscribed to the channel already?